Hello, welcome to Global Business. I am Imewore Ohiemohai. Today on the program, we're coming to you from the south part of Nigeria, that is Akwa Ibom State, Uyo to be precise. And we're right here at the Le Meridian for the Niger Delta Development Forum. It's a yearly event that has been happening for the last decade. That's about 10 years, and it's all in a way to bring development to the south, economic development, foreign partners and all kinds. So you have the World Bank having its World Economic Forum, or you have the Nigerian Economic Forum. This is the South's own Development Economic Forum, because this forum is supposed to lead to development for the South. We will see how this has led to development in the last 10 years when we talk to some actors or key actors who have been part of this event. Well, today on the program, we'll be talking about development in the South and some of the issues that have led to this talk. So, looking at the future in our hands, yes, the future in our hands is state-led framework for planning and development in the Niger Delta. That's the theme of this year's event. And we'll be looking at who will be speaking at this event, and we'll be talking to us too about what they hope to achieve with this two-day conference. Global Business goes from place to place, and today we're in Uyo. As you can see behind me, registration is already taking place, and so delegates are coming from every part of Nigeria to discuss the development in the Niger Delta. And you'll be watching it. You'll be seeing whether they're on the right track or not. After the break, we'll be back.
Welcome to the 6th edition of the Niger Delta Development Forum. This, as you know, is an annual forum for multi-stakeholder conversations on economic development and policy in the Niger Delta region. The forum envisions a Niger Delta that generates income and employment and creates economic opportunities unhindered by market and policy-related constraints.
Recommendations from last year at the forum, which spoke eloquently about strategic planning for development, competitiveness, and inclusive growth. As house-sounding as this may seem, it is simply a move towards economic development. When we talk about economic development, what we essentially mean is jobs and more jobs.
The current Niger Delta is not sustainable, it will die. That's the way I will put it. It's not productive. It's ridden with social crisis. Internal contradictions are overwhelming. You bring interventionist agencies to come and solve the problem, they become the problem. Governors do what they do at state levels. Federal government does what it does at the national level. And the rest of us struggle in between to get their attention. The oil companies and the economic well-being of our state and region It's been undermined by the type of insecurity and problems we have. Investors are not keen on the region anymore. So this is why I say it's not sustainable. What we have as a region and the model that is driving this region is just not sustainable. It won't work. It's dead on arrival. So when Dr. Dara tries to explain why we are here today, I think he was working too hard to tell us why. Because if we said in Owerri that model will not take us very far, it only behoves on us to say what is the model that will take us to where we want to go to. And if we look only in terms of the next MPF, we probably wouldn't have enough vision to go forward. So we needed to look more long term. And this is about looking long term. That's what it is all about.
Now, you've come to this Niger Delta Development Forum as an ICT expert. In your own, and one of the major issues or the major theme of this thing is planning. For you, planning with ICT for the Niger Delta region, how would you do that? Or what are your ideas concerning that?
Okay, I want to say that ICT cannot stand alone. ICT exists to drive other sectors. For example, if you want to construct a road, an express highway, and in future we know that there will be need for broadband, people need fiber. So if you are planning with everyone, all the sectors or all the stakeholders, there will be need to award contracts to lay the fibers at the same time you are constructing the roads, so that you won't come back to let, even if it means government owning those things, so that later they can now sell it to whoever or rent it or anyhow. But coming back to look for right of way, consult different people, pay damages, pay all those things that you need to pay in terms of what do they call it, whether consultation or something. It wastes our time, it delays us. So planning is key, and you can't do this without leveraging the platform ICT is providing. It saves time, makes it cost effective, and it gives us efficiency.
So, developing smart cities in the Niger Delta, what would you say are the challenges to those kind of developments?
Primarily, the network we are expecting to leverage on is not there. There's no internet, there's no broadband. Where I am currently, I don't have 4G that people have in Lagos, and the people that have access to fiber, they can't afford them because, I don't know whether because of business, the business system itself or the pricing index, whatever it is, people cannot afford these things. And the people that would have brought this internet to us, they can't also bring it to us because we can't afford them. We need, so many people have to come together and consume this data so that we can collectively pay for the tariff that this thing offers. So for smart cities to work, I imagine me depending totally on my home being automated, and one day there is no power, electricity, or one day there is no enough power, internet to upload my data so that I will understand what will happen to me. It could be meeting, it could be flight schedule, it could be anything, could even be bringing out my car from the garage. So for these things to work, we need proper power supply and also a quality supply of internet.
Whatever plan we do, we must run it by the demographics that are available. And then we have to identify also things that are state specific and things that are cross-cutting, and then things that are specifically designed to accommodate a special group of people. When you plan things like that, its implementation becomes easier, and then it becomes also very easy for people to monitor and evaluate to see if it's even been implemented or if its implementation has a default. And if it does, then you can make corrections. It also provides you an opportunity to create some kind of window for accommodating new ideas as you go along, because any plan that does not have room for improvement is bound to fail, because what we have as situation today may not be right in the next 2 years or in the next 5 years. So you create those opportunities, especially when it concerns human beings. And social development is about human beings, it's about communities, it's about institutions. And so we need to, in planning, create that window. So if we plan now and we put these things in perspective, then it's easy for us to see where our plan is going.
Now, taking into consideration the issue of the state itself, because they probably will need to guide these plans or probably lead the way, political influence, political factors, did you take that into consideration in your own discuss?
Yeah, yes, we did, because some states already have centers, ministries, agencies that cater for the kind of people that we were looking at, and some didn't. We also looked at the fact that some had the centers, but they were not funded, and so we have a bit of a handicap there. Some systems didn't have the political willpower to move it from where it was, either because it was not set up by them or that they simply do not understand it. Because we found out also in evaluating what is going on to realize that some of the people who run these offices do not understand the strength of their mandate. So if you don't understand what your role is and where to stop, then you are likely to be stepping out of your areas of jurisdiction and strength, and because already government has too many duplications of responsibilities and roles and agencies, then looking at that state level and saying, you know what, we can all plan so that nicely we fit in hand in glove, and we don't leave things hanging here and there. There are too many abandoned institutions and structures in the Niger Delta, and these things are abandoned at the state levels, at the local government levels, including concepts and ideas. So we looked at that, and we have made a few recommendations, and hopefully the states will listen.
You're still on to Global Business, and it's time for Talking Points, and we're still at the Niger Delta Development Forum. Of course, you have seen activities that have taken place within the last few days, 2 days to be specific. And I've got some of the key actors who will be telling us more about this event and, of course, development in the Niger Delta. Starting from the man who probably will say one of the brains behind the event, he is Dr. Dara Akala. Dr. Dara Akala is the Executive Director of the Foundation for Partnership Initiatives in the Niger Delta, otherwise known as PAIT. Dr. Akala, welcome to Talking Point in Global Business. And next to Dr. Akala is Filippo Geze, and Filippo Geze is the Deputy Team Leader for Market Development in the Niger Delta, otherwise known as MAID. Welcome, Filippo. And just by Filippo is Charles Abani. Charles Abani is the Chief of Party of the USAID Civil Society Project. That's the USAID Civil Society Project. Project supervisors, project managers, but they are the brains behind this, and they were talking telling us a lot more about this. I'll start with Dr. Akala. Dr. Akala, let's look at this forum. I mean, some people, this may be new, for some others, this isn't new. When did this start, and how long has it been on?
Okay, thank you very much. The Niger Delta Development Forum started in the year 2012. The first edition was held in Port Harcourt, and then we were looking at broad themes of economic development, capacity development in the region, as well as peace and conflict in the Niger Delta region, and how those affect sustainable development. Then we had the second edition in Benin City in the year 2013 with a more narrow focus, looking at the issues of micro, small, and medium enterprises in the region, and how we can improve the laws of these market actors. And then from there we moved to Cross River State, Calabar in the year 2014, and we looked at the theme focusing on agriculture and agricultural investments in the region. In year 2015, it was back to Asaba in Delta State, where we were looking at the theme of infrastructure and investments in the region. Last year, 2016, we were in Imo State, Owerri to be precise, and then we were looking at a much broader theme, which is showcasing and narrating a reimagined Niger Delta region, because we're looking at how we can change the narrative about this region. And here we are in Uyo in the 6th edition, looking at the theme of state-led frameworks for planning and development in the Niger Delta region.
I'll come to you on that, but let me talk to Filippo now. Filippo, if you were to look at the issue of probably being worth the while in partnership with the Niger Delta Forum, would you say this has been worth the while, your partnership?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Could you tell us why would you say it is worth the while?
Well, first of all, because we've been in collaboration with BIM for a long time for other activities, which goes in parallel with the NDDF, and I call it NDDF, if I may.
Yes, yes.
And the NDDF, it's worthwhile. Why? Because we come here and we listen to the people, right? That comes here and bring out the problems. And as we are implementing a program in the Niger Delta, we want to understand what people are thinking about what we're doing, which is more or less related to what we're looking forward to do with the NDDF, to see what are the problems, tackle the problems, and see what is the best way to plan and take action on it.
Okay, let me come back to you before I go to Charles. I'll come back to you, Dr. Akala.
Yes.
When you say you've been doing this for 6 years, many people want to say 6 years of what impact?
Oh, yes. I think that's a good question. We've had a range of impacts in the region. First and foremost, as Filippo mentioned, that this is a platform that enables us to get, feedback and information from the people, market actors, private sector, government people, and through that we are able to get, inputs into our programming in the region. We try to influence policies in the region, and some of these are taken forward by the state governments for implementation. I'll cite you a few examples. First and foremost, in the region, for PIN Foundation, for example, one of the things that we came up with in the 2013 NDDF, which is looking at the issues of micro and small enterprise promotion in the region, one of the key constraints is that of access to finance. And because of that, the feedback we receive from market players,
we had to work with our partners to see how we can improve access. And you see that from that time till now, the rate of lending by microfinance banks like LAPO, Lift Above Poverty Organization, Benin, has increased tremendously in the region. That is a practical example. The other thing we are trying to do on the back of that is to create, in partnership with a special purpose vehicle that is under incorporation now, that will help us remove some of those obstacles on the part of market actors. We know that banks don't want to lend to the agricultural sector because of the obvious risks that are involved. But through that special purpose vehicle, we're trying to see how we can buy down some of those risks, and that will make agriculture to be attractive to the banks. So it's another practical example of what has come out.
This cuts across all the Niger Delta states?
The entire 9 states.
Okay, let's hold that for a bit. Charles, you belong to USAID Civil Society Project, and many Nigerians are used to USAID. So what's the USAID Civil Society Project all about?
So the USAID Civil Society Project is supported both by USAID and PIND, and so we are a direct partner with PIND as well on this. It aims to strengthen the capacity of civil society organizations to demand for and propose reforms that improve transparency, accountability, and good governance. And for us, at the core of really making the Niger Delta a sustainable future is good governance.
So your concentration is really on the Niger Delta and not necessarily Nigeria?
No, we have a huge program that cuts across 27 states, and we have over 200 partners. In the Niger Delta, we work with close to 45 partners across the region, looking at various sectorial issues, from the effectiveness of Niger Delta institutions such as the Niger Delta Development Forum and the various agencies set up at state level to manage those resources. We look at issues of peace. We work on broad policy issues for business membership organizations, for example, who are seeking to work in diversified economic contexts. And so building, for example, of what Dara was just talking about, one of the groups we're working with in Benin has succeeded in getting the Edo State government to look at how they can now develop a clear and articulate agricultural policy for the state, which means that resources are plowed in effectively to deliver on diversified economic growth in the region.
Dr. Dara, coming back to you, the Niger Delta area seems to be one of the areas in Nigeria that probably spoke out. When I mean speak out, they started with the militancy. Then before you went to Boko Haram and all that, but there was militancy, which meant that all was not well in the Niger Delta. What is the impact of this organization, this forum, which is in the 6th year, to some of the troubling issues that still linger on? Issues of host communities and oil companies, issues of places that are not well developed, issues of all kinds of issues that cut across the Niger Delta.
Yeah.
What's the relationship?
I think you are right. There are micro type of issues and the macro type of issues in the Niger Delta region. There are some that are, so broad that if we attempt to dabble into those, they can swallow the organization. But we try to deal with most of those micro level issues where we can really have, a real impact. What has been at the center of some of this agitation, as it were, is lack of access to jobs, lack of access to employment, to good quality life, to facilities. And in the process of our work, we're trying to bring in some of these issues within the agricultural value chains where we work. In Delta State, for example, we are working with the Job Creation Office of the government, to create jobs for youth in the agricultural sector, both in aquaculture, and in the cassava value chain as well. And some of the fish farmers are actually ex-militants. We have a cluster, around Ughelli that focuses especially for the needs of the ex-militants. So that's an area where we're doing things to impact on some of the issues, that are at the heart of the, agitation.
And so it's still global business, and we're right here at Uyo, the Niger Delta Development Forum, right here in the Le Méridien at Uyo. Now, for those of you who haven't heard from us concerning our winners for the Global Business and TAP project, it's because you haven't sent in your entry. Remember, Global Business is empowering young people between the ages of 18 and 35 years. We'll be training them on different skills. There's the automobile skill, there is the interior design, fashion designing, and all kinds of skills. All you need to do is send, what do you think about global business? What do you think about global business? Send it to our lines 070-1061-2949. Just tell us what you think about global business. Now, this is the big one. 100,000 naira, at least 100,000 naira, will be given to a few of you. That's empowering you with a loan of 100,000 naira. And that's for your business, at least 100,000 naira. It means that we can give you up to 500,000 naira. All you have to do, send to our email, globalbusiness@art@gmail.com. All you need to do is tell us your business plan in one page. What do you want to use that money? How much do you want, number one? And what do you want to use that money for? That's it. Now, that interview that you just listened to will be continued next week. We'll still be on the Niger Delta Development Forum next week to conclude that interview with the three gentlemen. This is where we wrap it off on Global Business for today. I am Imewere Uhiemokai. Remember, doing business with you is good business. Let's do business again next week.